Hi, and welcome to the couch of IO Interactive.
Since 2017, ranked as one of the 4 best schools in the world.
It was actually a GDC where, just for a casual conversation with someone about the idea of maybe one day working in Sweden.
And I'm going to be sharing some insight about what it's like to be a game developer in our region.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Olof Thedin and I come from the regional investment promotion agency Invest in Skåne. I am here to give you a brief introduction of the Skåne games industry, to introduce you to some of the players, my own organization, the academia, and some of the studios that are in the region. By the end of this presentation, I hope that you will be able to see Skåne in a new light, be curious, and want to know more about us and about Skåne. Enjoy.
Did you know that every 8th person in the world has played a game made by Swedes? Oh, but Sweden, aren't they too busy shopping at IKEA or dancing to ABBA? Wrong. Well, they do all of those things too. From the front line of the battlefield, to the mining and building of worlds, to finding out what it's like to wreak havoc as a goat. Sweden is responsible for a lot of visionary games, but I'm not gonna start bragging about stats, like telling you how many people play Candy Crush every month. 100 million. It's not like I can convince you to become a part of the Swedish games industry by showing you these numbers, telling you exactly why there's never been a better time to do so. Take it from this Swede instead.
Yeah, it's true.
See? Told ya. So, if you're interested in belonging to a community with diverse people focused on bringing the highest level of creativity to a fan base, that in turn allows this business to be one of the most profitable in the world, I'd start thinking about becoming a Swede.
Hi again. I hope you enjoyed that video by the Swedish games industry. From here on out, I will give you a brief presentation about Sweden, Skåne, and some of the games industry players and other things that you can find both in Sweden and in Skåne. I'm sure you know some of the basic facts about Sweden already, that we have endless dark winters, we fight polar bears, and we also know all the ABBA songs by heart. What you might not know is also that Sweden tops some of the world's indexes when it comes to education, work-life balance, health, happiness, innovation, carbon neutrality, and sustainability. These are some of the facts that are not well known in Sweden. Sweden is not a very well-known place in the world, as it is perhaps. But if you look at this slide, you can see that some of the companies that you might know around the world actually have their eyes on Skåne. There's been a lot of innovations made in Skåne. I'm sure that you recognized at least some of the inventions on this slide here, especially the one in the bottom right. Perhaps you recognize some of these people. If you do, you're probably involved in some of the industries that they are involved in. If you don't know, Hideo Kojima is a video game maker from Japan. Then we have Elon Musk, the guy who wants to go to Mars. And then we have James Cameron, that has been producing movies for a very long time. All of these people have interest in Skåne. Skåne, the square-shaped peninsula in the most southern part of Sweden. It might not look much on the map, but there is a lot more than meets the eye. Skåne is very much a cross-section of Sweden as a whole. Knowledge and innovation and intensive industries are very much clustered in Skåne, particularly the industries of technology, life science, advanced materials, green cities and smart cities, and food and beverages are very prominent here in Skåne. Skåne is also home to strong R&D, education and innovation. Furthermore, we are also home to ESS and MaxLab 4, two cutting-edge research facilities sponsored by most of the European Union. We're also very close to the rest of the world through our connection with Copenhagen and Copenhagen Airport Kastrup. So you can basically travel anywhere within Europe in a very short amount of time. Also, you can travel all over the world very, very quickly. Being so innovative and research heavy, we're also very lucky that we have a lot of education, a lot of educational institutions. So we have, for instance, 3 universities, over 50,000 students and 7,000 graduates each year. Several vocational schools, including the Game Assembly, which is a game development school in Malmö. We have at least 10 different clusters with everything from ICT to life science to agriculture. Skåne is also the fastest growing region in Sweden. It's very diverse and it's great connection between nature but also between cities. So if you want to live in Skåne, you're very close to the city but also to nature. And something that everybody likes, it's comparatively cheap to a lot of other places, both in the rest of Europe, also compared to, for instance, Copenhagen and Stockholm. Now on to something different, games. Games are the industry that I work the most with, but also I'm the most passionate about. And boy, are game serious business now. Soon, the global player base will be expected to reach about 2.4 billion users. That's more than 1/8 of the global population when it comes to games. The industry will also be about $200 billion in size, which is a fantastic number. It's now larger than the music and the movie industry combined. So this means that games are more than well into the mainstream when it comes to entertainment and media. Due to COVID-19, games have also gained social importance as a means to connect with people that you can't meet anymore or keep friendships alive, but also learn new things. So games is not just an entertainment anymore, it's something that you can use to create bridges and connect with other people. And this has of course also helped the global games industry and of course in Sweden as well. Games have been produced in Sweden ever since computers became a thing, and we're pretty good at it if I have to say so myself. Today, the Swedish game industry has grown into a behemoth of 24 billion Swedish kroners, which is bigger than iron ore or paper pulp exports, which are 2 exports in Sweden that have been of traditional significance. Due to innovations and eagerness to explore gamification, cross-industry ventures are coming along in education, immersion technology, automotive, heavy industry, and more. The industry is eager to reinvest in itself and learn from other industries, and also making acquisitions abroad. What are some of the numbers for the Swedish industry? I showed you some before, but I'm going to show you some more. Almost 8,000 employees, which about a third of them are female, about 450 studios, 3 major clusters and several small ones. New and upcoming stars every year. The 3 clusters are Skövde in the Gothenburg region, Stockholm and Skåne. There's no question about it. Skåne is one of the biggest hubs for game development in Sweden. Skåne is home to more than 60 active studios and game-related companies, and the range of studios is just as impressive. From one-person indie developers all the way up to the massive entertainment. I think you see what I did there. This ecosystem that is composed of both giant and small independent developers create unique, diverse, creative games. But it's not just games being developed here, it's people too. Many of the smaller studios are started by or sponsored by, or in other ways supported by veterans of the industry. New and up-and-coming developers learn and exchange ideas with the veterans, and they also come from the game development schools. So they challenge each other, but they also inspire each other. This relationship together with a laid-back, accepting community creates a friendly rivalry that spurs further development and growth within the ecosystem and the community itself. But this is not all. What makes Skåne and particularly Malmö such a great place for games is not that we have any of the individual parts that makes a great game development community. We have the entire value chain, no matter the size of the studio, and we have what it takes for you to succeed. And we have a place for you to join us. Depending on where you are in your life cycle as a game studio, we probably have something for you. I won't go into all the details here, but wherever you are in your journey as a game studio, we have education, we have talent here in Skåne. We have a fantastic community of both incubators and people around that can help you. Funding, publishing and networks, we have that too. We also have a great international community, a great business climate, and support organizations such as ourselves, but also others that can help you set up, run, and succeed in what you want to do. And we're here for you. the Game Assembly. I won't go too much into this top 5 in the world game development school that we have here in Skåne. You will get to meet these guys and a few of the students a bit later. But you also need an international scene to be seen on, and we have that in Skåne. We have the Nordic Game Conference, which is one of the biggest game developer conferences in the Nordics and perhaps even in Europe. I won't go through all the numbers. I'll let you read some of the statement that others have said about the Nordic Game Conference. So who are we? And by we, I mean Invest in Skåne. Invest in Skåne is the regional investment promotion agency for the region of Skåne. We're public non-profit, which means that we're free of charge. We're confidential. We can do anything from very basic requests for information all the way to custom tailored programs for you to both experience, explore, but also establish or do business in Skåne. Okay, so that was my presentation. Now that the corporate boring stuff is over, now we can really get into the fun part, meeting the people in the region. And we're going to start with Game Habitat.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm the CEO of Game Habitat, a non-profit organization for game development in southern Sweden. And I'm going to be sharing some insight about what it's like to be a game developer in our region and how it is to set up your studio here. But before I say anything else, please have a look at this.
I believe that southern Sweden has entered a very positive cycle when it comes to talent and the community between the studios, where we are all helping each other to build something that is very, very specific and very unique and incredibly positive for the talent that moves here.
If you look at Malmö, it's one of the hotspots of not only the Nordic region, but on the world map itself.
Malmö companies make games for each and every platform. You find the talent needed for any project here. We cover it all.
There is a mutual interest in growing the talent pool and in growing the industry in southern Sweden.
So one of the reasons I think that we've been so successful is that we are in such a close relationship with the industry. We have also the industry sending their developers to come and give feedback to our students. So they all get to be as good as they could be.
Both the games industry and Malmö proves that you can have healthy competition also under friendly cooperative terms. That's why the local industry is growing and is open towards the world in the way that it is.
It's a city where you have a vibrant community beyond just the peers on your game team, where you have drinks, you can build relationships with people in the industry.
To us, it's been really valuable to be part of this community. It's helped us secure investments, secure loans, getting help testing the game. So I think we're really lucky to be part of such a nice community.
The positives about having a studio in Karlshamn is that you're much more connected to the local community, especially the game dev community. It's very tight-knit. We have a great ecosystem with local investment funds. We have an incubator right across the street from here. We started out as students. We got some funding and office space. Now we're 14 employees and we're working on future projects.
So quite early on, we made it part of our strategy to attract and recruit people from all over the world. Make sure that we could take care of them and integrate them into the Swedish society, and of course use their talent to build the fantastic games we're working on.
We opened in Malmö due to its location and the amount of competency existing and the culture existing in this region. That was the reason we opened, and that's the reason we continue to invest.
We get to work with a diverse community of exceptional game companies, indie developers, game conferences, world-class game educations, and we are all creating the best environments for game development here in South Sweden. And we want more people from all over the world to join us.
We've never felt we needed to be anywhere else. And we hope that many people will come here, join us, and also realize they don't really need to be anywhere else.
So in the past few years, southern Sweden has really come into its own as one of the leading regions for game development in Europe. So some of the studios that you might recognize that are already based here are Shark Mob, Avalanche, King, Tarsher, Frictional Games, Illusion Labs, IO Interactive, and many others. The amount of talent that has gathered here has been growing like crazy. And now when we're seeing big IPs like Avatar and Star Wars and James Bond being put in the hands of developers that are based in and around our region, that flow of talent is just going to keep increasing, because who wouldn't want to work on some of the biggest franchises that there is? And Game Habitat is sort of at the heart of all that. We are a community-focused non-profit organization, cluster organization for game development, and our vision is for southern Sweden to become the best possible environment for everything and everyone related to game development. So we provide sort of this long-term approach. So our members, they benefit from us working to develop a strong community, to do events, to do competence development efforts, different talks and workshops and all of that will benefit them and their employees in different ways. But our main focus is not to provide services for them in the short term. It's to develop this long-term sustainable ecosystem and infrastructure for game development. So one of the more recent things that we've done is to create this physical meeting place and an office space for game development. That's called the Dev Hub. So at its heart, it's a 5-story building in the center of Malmö, where we've gathered everything from indie to AAA to publishers and investors and service providers under one roof. So my 3 main reasons for why I think a studio should set up in our region is that, 1, we have now one of the highest concentrations of game development talent anywhere in Europe. And that is at a lower cost of living, rent, wages, that compared to any capital. And 3, you get access to an existing infrastructure and ecosystem that provides you with a lot of the services that you would otherwise have to do for yourself. So to any experienced developer that is looking to make their next move, I'd say in our region, you get access to a great number of studios working with games for all platforms and in all genres. And on top of that, you have this existing, including and welcome community of game developers from all over the world that will make the transition that much easier for both you and your family. And to anyone who's dreaming about setting up their own studio, I can tell you that we're working on something really exciting. We're building an international game acceleration program, complete with mentors and business development and seed funding. So if you're interested in that, just keep an eye on our channels. So that's enough from me. It's about time that you meet some of the studios that I've been talking about.
Hi, and welcome to the couch of IO Interactive here in Malmö, Sweden.
Yeah, these are a little bit of our, I want to say, IOI moments. That's actually me and one of our colleagues here playing games in our game lounge. It's actually not staged. We did have this much fun. Then, of course, Hitman, our pride and glory. The journey that we've had on the road to becoming one of the independent AAA studios in the world is quite unique in the way that we're not that many people. Yeah, a little under 200. We're working on multiple projects, which is super rare. We started off in Copenhagen in Denmark, and we're the only AAA studio in Denmark. Then recently, when we opened our studio here in Malmö in Sweden, there's of course more competition, but that was also one of the reasons why we wanted to join this little community. There's more game development studios here. There's definitely more talent, and that's what we were looking for. I think that brings a lot to us and who we are. We're a very mixed bag. Over 31 different nationalities across the 2 studios, which brings a lot as well. We're not just Scandinavian. We're multicultural. We're from all over the world. And we wouldn't be able to make such exciting games about traveling the world if we weren't all from different parts of it. We have recently announced that we're working on Project 007, an original James Bond story. It's of course a huge endeavor, and we're very excited about it. It's new for us being this multi-project studio, so there is many learning curves and a lot of things to take into consideration, but we feel like we're ready for it. A lot of the comments online have been, there's no better studio in the world to take on this challenge than IO Interactive. We feel like we've trained for this for 20 years. For all of you out there wondering how to get a job on this amazing 007 project, I can only say put your best foot forward. We're always looking for the people who can bring us to the next level. We're always looking to do better and improve. So maybe that's you who can do this with us.
We want you.
And you.
My journey from being a long-term British dev to working in the Swedish scene it's been a bit of a strange one in that Avalanche, where I work, part of Systemic Reaction, was a studio that I always loved their games. And I never saw myself really moving out of the southeast UK scene. I've been making games for 18 years in all now. And it was actually a GDC where just for a casual conversation with someone about the idea of maybe one day working in Sweden, and I am married to a Swede. And through this casual conversation with someone about this idea, they were like, well, there's someone you should talk to. And lo and behold, that was Avalanche, and they wanted to set up a new studio in Skåne, in Malmö city. And we started to chat, and then we agreed that it would be a great thing to do.
Locked and loaded.
We started the studio, myself and Sarah Ponnet, who's our location manager. We set up the studio around 2.5 years ago. And we've now gone from like no people up to about 55 people. This is in the Malmö office. And we're actually on our third office space now. And it was great timing that the Dev Hub, Game Habitat's Dev Hub, was setting up just at the time that we wanted to actually start bringing people on board. And it was a perfect way for us to get the studio off the ground. It had a lot of sort of facilities and sort of the basics that we needed without us having to go straight away into a kind of long-term rental.
Welcome to basic training.
Well, there are a few differences between working in the UK and working in Sweden in the game scene. There are lots that join them together as well. Obviously, they're often international companies, so you get to work with people from all over the world. Luckily for me, the language of development is English here in our studio, which is also a boon. But I think some of the differences come from the scale. There's many less people. If you look at London, it's very spread out, the dev scene, so it's quite hard to kind of build easy connections with other studios. But if you take a city like Malmö, you've got a huge range of studios from massive, literally massive AAA studios and tiny one-man indie dev scene. But because of the scale of the city, it's much easier for everyone to communicate and come together. You get a lot more sharing because of that, which is a real advantage.
Oh, great! More incoming!
Right, if you're thinking about working abroad, I mean, this is a great place to come and work and live. This is the first time I've done it. And I've got a family, I've got a couple of kids, so it was a big decision to move. But the support has been great. And the fact that obviously Sweden, English, everyone does speak English, that does make integration a lot better. I am learning bit by bit, but that's made it a really easy move. And, it's something everyone should do, work in a foreign country, at least for some time. You get a great insight, not just into another culture, but into your culture as well. You get to see it from a different point of view. So, I can't really recommend it enough.
So Cross Reality is a studio creating multiplayer VR games, especially for out-of-home entertainment centers.
For the developers, there's 2 of us only at the moment, and the way we got the second developer was through the Game Assembly's internship program. So in Malmö, they have a school called the Game Assembly. They've also recently opened one in Stockholm, and they put out all of their students on internship at the end of their course. So each year we have a meet and greet with the school, and we can choose one of the students and offer them an internship, which we did last year, and she's actually just about to start full-time next month with us. So yeah, that's how it benefits to be in this area.
So one of the main assets that we have in our region is the Game Assembly. It's an advanced vocational education, our game school, that educates everything from game programmers to 3D artists to level designers, technical artists, and animators. So they have the whole, spectrum of game talent, and they develop game projects throughout the whole school program. So once these students are done, they are highly sought after by the games industry.
Game Assembly started around 2008 in Malmö, and that was because the industry needed talents and there were no good school. So we've been developing the school more and more, and now we have 5 different departments. We have level design, graphics, programmers, technical artists, and animation. And today we have approximately about 8% of the industry are from the Game Assembly, so that's quite a big number. Since 2017, ranked as one of the 4 best schools in the world. We are very happy about that. But I think it's like many parts. Mainly, we have a really close conversation with the industry, what they want, what they need. Our teachers are from the industry, and the students as well. They are very keen on learning, and it's a big passion for them.
I used to be an illustrator and comic artist, and then I decided I wanted a more stable environment with being hired at a company instead of having my own company. So I started the education, the Game Assembly, got it recommended from a bunch of other illustrators and comic artists, because I knew they not only had gotten a great education, but also a job afterwards, which is so important when choosing an education. So yeah, I started the Game Assembly 2017, and I finished my internship, got hired at Avalanche Studios, and now I'm here, a gameplay animator. And I'm so excited. I'm having fun every day. It's crazy.
It's important for us that the students have a passion for doing this, because it's 2.5 years and it's a quite intense school. So we really want them to be excited to study.
You can know a bunch of stuff already, but you could also start off with just knowing, for me, I just knew illustration. I didn't know any 3D or technical stuff. And to be honest, the technical stuff was a bit overwhelming, but your classmates are also your teachers. So you help each other and learn from each other.
The design of our school is that 50% of the time you make games, and the other 50% you have lectures or workshops.
Yeah, we make 8 games during the 2 years. And then we have personal projects as well during that time.
And those are individual, and you can perform how much you have time. But then the games is the collaborative part. So you get a group of a couple of team classmates and from other classes too. So you're basically some programmers, some graphic artists, some animators, and some level designers. You create games together, just small teams.
Yeah, we made great games. The pipeline from not been working. I haven't worked with games before, so just to get the pipeline and learn that sort of thinking was very helpful.
So when you get out in the industry as an intern, you you kind of know. You're kind of prepared for most of it.
Our mission is to have the step from being a student to the industry should be as small as possible. So our school is almost like being in the industry. It's almost like working already.
Except for the part of like having a bit of imposter syndrome. I was so cocky. I was like, oh, I'm not going to have imposter syndrome. I'm so confident when I get out on my internship. But yeah, it hits you. And then it's just important to like seek support amongst friends or colleagues. And everyone is so kind. It's really great. Really surprised and like positively surprised how many people get actually hired after the education.
I mean, I think all of us have everyone got an internship. And I think all of us, I haven't talked to all my former colleagues, but I think most of us have a job right now. I mean, 2 years, it doesn't sound like much, but like the intensity at the school, you learn so much. And then that you get a full-time job after the school. That's, I think it's pretty unique, actually.
What was my experience of the game assembly? It's tough. Having done a degree here in the UK, things have kind of stretched over 3 years, and it's kind of chill. It was very intense. So it's only a two-year course studying, and then you have a 6-month work placement. But those 2 years are quite demanding because it's such a broad spectrum of things you need to sort of pack in. You get a good grounding on all of them, but basically I was working from Monday to Sunday to Friday, basically, maybe 10 hours a day for those 2 years just to try and keep pace. So it's not for the faint of heart, but once you walk out of there, you walk into the work environment, and it's like things really calm down for you. I'd heard it before, like people who'd already been on placement said that once you start working, it's so much easier. The pace is slowed down, and it's very true. But once you start work, you're prepared for everything, really. I went to work for a smaller company, and I was in charge of everything basically. So I could rig, I could model, I could animate, and 2D concepting. It was I felt very well prepared. Yeah, raising a family here, I thought it's a bit strange for a Brit. Sort of, I have a 2-year-old daughter, so the support network is fantastic for families. It costs maybe, I don't know, £150 a month for Sam to go to school, and then all her meals are covered there and things like that. And you can really choose how long she's in school. We try and keep it as short as possible so we can spend more time with her. But there's so many options for you, like paternity leave. I took 6 months, but it was there's more time available for me to take. So I could have had longer if I wanted to, but I was quite keen to get back to work. But then you have a set amount of days there as well, which I can always take to have longer summer holidays. So the government subsidises that for my workplace. So if I wanted to, with work's permission, if I wanted to stay longer for summer holidays, maybe take a month or two, it's not a problem. So there's so many little benefits and things like that. Sometimes I feel guilty taking them, but a Swede would just take it for granted. But it really is a marvelous system.
The work-life balance question is a really interesting one, because I think that in general now, and I'm not trying to pick on any studio, but the game's mentality in general is that you're going to crunch, and you're going to crunch whenever it's needed, and it's a bit of a rock star lifestyle. So you do what's necessary because there's always somebody waiting to take your place. I don't feel like that. That doesn't mesh with the Swedish way of living. They've got this word here that interestingly enough, just does not translate to English, and it's lagom. It is just the right amount. It's very difficult to even say it. It's just the perfect amount. And Swedes tend to take lagom very seriously, and it applies to your work-life balance as well. So it's acceptable to work hard. It's acceptable to put in a lot of effort and to strive for greatness, but it's not acceptable to to hammer people here in ways that I've seen in other organizations and in other countries. So I think that there's a lot to be said for the work-life balance. Going back to the whole children thing as well, you get a year of paid parental leave, and no studio is going to say anything to you about it. I mean, they can't by law. The first time they read to me this is a true story actually, up in Uppsala at my first studio, when they read to me the perks and the benefits package that came with the job, I started getting a little bit annoyed and frustrated. And I thought, I finally told the HR folks, I said, I get it. I'm a Southern boy. I don't know my way around this country, but I don't think it's polite to make fun of me in this way, because I did not believe that those packages were real.
Okay, guys, so that is basically the end of my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. And if you're even the slightest bit curious about Skåne and us as a game industry region, don't hesitate to call me. We have the office at Game Habitat. We know because of COVID that it's hard to get here, but in the future, maybe, let us know. But I have something that might help you push you over the edge. Game Habitat and Invest in Skåne has a partnership where you can come and experience Skåne and the game community industry rent-free for 90 days. If this sounds interesting and you want to try it out, please contact me. Now, to wrap things up, I'm going to show you a highlight reel of some of the games that are being developed in the region. So please enjoy the highlight reel, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.